Hello and welcome everybody. We have the patch notes for 1.05 Crimson Desert. They came out May 2nd. I know I missed 1.04, I believe, but back again because I was a bit busy. So continuing, we have the update is currently available on Steam, both PC and Mac, PlayStation, Xbox, and Epic Game Store. The Mac App Store is at a later time, but let's get right into the content. So we have the added rematch content. The content is pretty much going to be improved in future patches. So the powerful bosses faced throughout Crimson Desert await your challenge once again. You can now rematch any boss at any time to test your progress and experiment with different tactics. By lighting up your lantern at the site of previous boss encounters, you can read the memory fragment, and this will then initiate a rematch. Memory fragments only become available after the boss is defeated, and you can locate the memory fragments for rematches on both the world map and the mini-map. Selecting Open Map from the Knowledge Memory Fragments Bosses tab to see exactly where you fought the previous boss. You can attempt the rematch with any character now, Cliff, Unka, or Damian. The rematch will initially feature 2 modes, and you'll be able to rematch with 69 bosses starting from this week. So we have the Reminiscence, which is fight the boss exactly as they were when you first encountered them, and then the Resonate version, which will have the boss's stats scale to match the player's progression. This only applies if the player's stats are higher than the original boss's stats, and in rematch, any consumables used will be restored to a prior state once the battle ends, and no separate loot can be obtained. This might change in future updates, but that is the current state. They also added the reblockade content, also updated in future patches continuously. So the reblockades will occur at a set probability for strongholds that meet a specific time and condition requirements. The reblockades are applied after the loading screen occurs, such as saving or loading or sleeping in a bed. And the reblockade offers 3 modes to adjust its frequency. You can change this via the reblockading frequency option under the settings in gameplay. If the reblockade frequency is changed, the new frequency will apply to the game after all the previous planned reblockades are initiated. So reblockade frequency stable, which means reblockades will not occur at all. The reblockade frequency conflict, which is the default setting, this will occur intermittently. And then we have the reblockade frequency war, which will cause the reblockades to occur more frequently. During the reblockade, 13 different factions will carry out reblockades across 23 forts and quarries. They plan to gradually increase the number of participating factions and targeted strongholds in the near future, and they also plan to adjust the enemies appearing during reblockades to pose a much greater threat, and they plan to improve the overall system of liberation and reblockade. Overall, this is a great thing. I, for example, had a challenge to kill the foxes, and I needed to wear a bear hat, and sadly there were no more foxes on the map. This will definitely allow you to get through that. They also added new legendary animals to be kept as pets, which includes the Iron Eagle and the Hyacinth Macaw. The Iron Eagle will appear upon meeting certain conditions, and they added a new creature, the Mountain God Boar. The Mountain God Boar also appears upon certain conditions, which we're going to have to find out. They also added a shop that sells disguise items, and they also added new items to shops. There is a spoiler warning, so I will be giving you a second. I will now open it. When wearing the Ring of Lightning after defeating the Titan, you can purchase the Lightning Bolt plate boots from Bari's shop. They also improved the interaction with gold bars placed throughout the world that were previously unobtainable. Picking them up now yields a crude gold bar worth 5 silver, so at least you get a little bit out of it. They also added a new location to obtain the pumpkin head near pumpkin patches. They also added carry, lower, and pet interactions for the goose and duck pets. Fixed the issue where the housing items automatically retrieved due to camp expansions were not displayed in the housing installables UI. They improved crop harvesting in the garden so you can consistently receive a minimum of 2 crops regardless of fertilizer or water supply. They also improved the visibility of hints in certain puzzles, improved the ruins puzzle at the lake near Carranzo so that progress is maintained even after saving, loading, or leaving the area. They also improved mission dispatch to automatically cancel if missions can no longer be sustained, improved the embed abyss gear and create socket functions to support locked items, improved the highlight effect when dyeing outfits to make dyeable parts clearer, moved the abyss nexus near Zargon Tank Works, where the research institute is located, to the top of the cliff. If you've already activated the Nexus, it will remain activated after relocation. They also improved the graphics quality of certain animals, fixed an issue where comrades' trust would reset to 10 under certain conditions. I've actually had that happen. Fixed an issue where certain livestock could not be sold or butchered. Fixed an issue where comrade status would be displayed as in progress even if they were not on a mission. And certain knowledge could not be acquired. And they fixed several issues regarding specific bosses. Again, spoiler warning. Jumping now, we have the fixed issue where Cliff could not customize die after defeating Umbra, and they fixed an issue where text would not display properly when reading the Asarion gear blueprint. They also fixed revolving doors in certain puzzles reacting to Force Palm, fixed an issue where the Tesla coil item would get stuck in the air under certain conditions, home decoration mode where moving an object placed on top would also move the object underneath it, fixed an issue where the drill and chainsaw items could not be equipped in safe zones, fixed an issue where legendary mounts would die immediately upon being summoned in certain conditions, and with that we are moving on to the combat in action. So they applied bug fixes and improvements regarding bosses. Again, small spoiler warning, but to be honest, if it's a fix, why not? So they fixed an issue with corrupted Caliburn displaying abnormal attack patterns, improved combo fluidity when attacking the Stormcrusher and Thunder Tank bosses, fixed an issue where the Abyss Nexus would reset upon saving and loading after defeating the Abyss Kutum, and a warning message will now display if you move out of the combat area during the fight against Ludwig. Further, they fixed an issue where bosses would occasionally not enter a staggered state, fixed an issue where certain bosses would not take damage from bows and ranged attacks while staggered, fixed some issues where bosses would endlessly repeat evade animations, increased the damage reduction rate upon successful guard for all weapon types, reduced the character's travel distance when using Force Current, fixed some issues where repeatedly pressing the input for escape would not free the character from immobility when afflicted with the freeze status. Then they fixed some issues with comboing into evasive shot while casting charge shot did not work properly, and also focus charge shot could be used even if the skill hadn't been learned. Axiom Force would not activate properly when aiming while the character is falling. Fixed an issue with the healing Force Palm on specific objects would cause the dazed status effect to the player. Fixed an issue where monsters near the Spire of Frost would take cold damage. Fixed an issue where characters would not perform falling animations when jumping from high places. Weapons looked unnatural when the weapon throw skill under certain conditions. Also, some issues with the Walker monsters dealing excessive damage. Fixed an issue where the Visione was worn while holding a weapon under certain conditions. Fixed issues with weapon appearance would return to the character after being thrown. Fixed some issues where weapons would occasionally bounce in midair when the Crow's Pursuit Abyss gear was equipped. Fixed an issue with the stamina wasn't consumed during the flight under certain conditions. And the improved the appearance of hostile Marnie's mech monsters. I hope it's a little less because that is a lot. Fixed an issue where destructible objects occasionally didn't break when hit by projectiles at a distance. Fixed an issue where characters will bounce unnaturally when falling into a shallow river. Improved interactions with certain merchant NPCs, including Tackle and Carry. And then on Damian, they fixed an issue where enemies right next to the character would not take damage when using Piercing Light with a greatsword. And for Damian and Unka both, they fixed an issue where the character would automatically recover upon receiving fatal damage. Controls, they fixed an issue where controller and keyboard and mouse control presets would reset. Fixed an issue where the vault skill did not trigger consistently. Pressing the jump key once during an attack will execute a standard vault. Pressing the jump key again during the activation will execute a double jump leaping off the enemy. Separating the interaction key for sit and lean on terrain and objects. Fixed an issue where the third hit of Force Palm would occasionally activate without additional key input after a second hit. I've actually had that happen. Damian and Unka, they improved the control responsiveness after using throw. Fixed an issue where some key inputs were delayed during cutscenes. Keyboard and mouse, they fixed an issue where changing quick slot tabs didn't work near interactable targets. Fixed an issue where certain water terrains were repeatedly starting, stopping the swimming would lock the player's controls. And they fixed an issue where certain controls were disabled at the start of an unarmed duel. UI fixes and improvements. So they fixed an issue where displayed character names during an autosave or manual save did not match the actual ongoing chapter. They do apologize for that. They improved the skill menu to directly open the skill screen for the characters currently being played. Improved the UI on the Abyss map to intuitively display teleport paths. If a specific object is discovered and registered in the journal notifications, you can now select a notification to check its location on the map. They also improved the minimap to display own pets in the Greymane camp. Improved sell and gift lists to gray out locked items. Added the cancel key to appear during eavesdrop. Improved the save menu to display the autosave slot. Added a feature to delete save data from the load menu. This feature cannot be used when the load menu is accessed from the main menu. Fixed the issue where the owned quantity of an item displayed in the bottom right of the inventory was abnormal. Fixed an issue where the displayed owned currency differed from the actual amount when loading a save. Keyboard and mouse, they fixed an issue where the key guides for their home decoration looked unnatural, and also the mouse selection for inventory category tabs. They also fixed an issue where the quick menu list remained open if playing a memory fragment failed. Fixed an issue with other tabs not being selected after scrolling in the map details. Fixed some issue on the preview all feature being unusable in the Pets Tailor Shop menu. And they fixed an issue where the Storm Talon Ridge Watchtower still showed as blockaded on the map even after being liberated. Few graphics and settings on PC with the implementation of the NVIDIA Streamline SDK 2.11.1. The dynamic multi-frame generation option has been added under the GeForce RTX 50 series exclusive. PlayStation 5 base and Xbox Series S and X, they added a sharpness enhancement under the video settings. Max, they fixed rendering errors occurring in certain scenes. Improved the rain falling from eaves to look more natural. Fixed an issue where the appearance of the bow and quiver looked unnatural in certain conditions. And they improved the guide displayed in full screen so they can be reviewed in menu journal notifications. Stability and gameplay, they fixed an issue where crashes would occur when configuring options in certain environments. Overall stability fixes. Localization, they fixed some various errors in localization across all languages. And then finally we get to the other section, which is always my favorite in BDO as well. So they fixed an issue where the Golden Fire Reward was not granted upon defeating Golden Star. They improved the sound of footsteps for certain characters, improved the sound effects when walking on glass textured ore veins, improved the audibility of certain lines during the quests and Trials of Kindness, improved lines of certain cutscenes to play more naturally as well, improved certain NPC lines, voices, and reactions to be more natural and context appropriate. Let's see if they curse a little less. They fixed an issue where the aerial maneuver would not activate after using the Axiom Force on Corunda. Fixed an issue at times where sound would fail to play when putting down an uprooted tree. Improved the earrings equipped on a character to move more naturally. Fixed some issues with certain outfits not appearing natural depending on the character's movements. Fixed an issue where characters would shake unnaturally when Cliff was positioned at certain spots during Chapter 1, actions speak louder than words. Fixed some unnatural target movement when using a lantern in the Vault of Vengeance. Fixed an issue where Cliff's posture would appear awkward at the beginning of the cutscene while using Blinding Flash. Improved the motions for the memory fragment Lair of Animal Thieves to be more natural. Fixed some issues where the game would crash when selecting an item of max refinement from the refinement screen. Fixed some issues where the game would be unplayable when loading save data when death has found the character. Fixed an issue where the title screen would display when purchasing 2 horses at a stable. Fixed an issue where at times the character couldn't ride the icicle-edged Alpine Ibex. Cliff, they fixed an issue where the character's movement would appear awkward in certain outfits. Then we have a few Damian fixes. They improved the character's movement to be more natural with the elegant Carmine plate helmet. Fixed an issue where the character would temporarily move up and down in preview mode at the barber and tailor shop. Fixed an issue where the character's cloak would vanish while using Axiom Force midair. They fixed an issue where performing a heavy attack with the laser cannon spear or cuckoo laser cannon spear would pierce through enemies. Damian and Uka, both, they changed the skill description for the double jump. For both of them, again, they fixed an issue where the character would spawn at an abnormal location when escaping from certain terrain. Uka specifically, they fixed an issue where certain hairstyles would appear awkward. They also fixed an issue where equipment that wouldn't display would show during duo. They fixed some issues where outfits of certain monsters would appear awkward. Fixed an issue where at times previously equipped weapons would disappear when equipping a weapon. Then they fixed an issue with the weapon appearance vanishing under certain conditions. They also fixed an issue where NPCs would look unnatural. Changed so the appearance of some packs. They also fixed some issues on the appearance overlapping abnormally when equipping certain cloaks and two-handed swords. They fixed more issues where characters couldn't catch creatures storable in the inventory, such as insect, mammals, and rodents while sitting. I actually have had that. Improved the open-close interaction buttons for windows to appear more quickly when climbing walls. Improved the die to be more natural for the Blackwing mask. Then they fixed some issues where the cancel button wouldn't appear properly when selecting the difficulty at the start of the game. Fixed some issues where unequipping equipment would display the refinement equipment menu. Fixed some issues where at times where failing to cheat at a minigame in certain regions would either not teleport the character to the I hate that word, constabulary, or move the character to a constabulary of the different region. Jail. Fixed the issue where the character couldn't play duo when transferred to prison for committing a crime during the Archer contest. Fixed issue where the comrade wouldn't return after being dispatched on a mission to Azarian's Manor. They also improved comrades to return properly after completing a mission. Fixed issues where at times items wouldn't display properly in Patricio's secret shop. Then they fixed an issue where the examine screen wouldn't close underwater when a mount dies, while using the examine option while on the mount. Fixed an issue where you couldn't change the material when dying certain items. Then they fixed Cliff, where Cliff as a comrade wouldn't stay dead when using the load option after being critically wounded. They fixed an issue where the striped marlin on the character's back would disappear or fall to the ground when using a shop. They fixed an issue where the part of the A tag couldn't be died with a player in the die menu. Fixed some issues where the camera would move awkwardly when controlling a strong box placed at a specific spot. Fixed an issue with the Sky Bridge alignment device could be grabbed with the Axiom Force even when incomplete. Fixed an issue where characters would keep rotating automatically when entering the die or customization menu when closing it while the character rotates. Fixed an issue where the die wouldn't apply to headgear and cloaks with the display headgear option on the customization. Fixed an issue where the headgear would appear abnormal when discarding certain headgear. They also fixed an issue where displayed knowledge wouldn't match the actual game. Fixed an issue where the turbine breaker would reset after liberating Marnie's drilling rig. Fixed an issue where enemies in the area wouldn't disappear after purifying the Sanctum of Penitence. Fixed an issue where geese would abnormally appear from under the water. Fixed some issues with certain NPCs being placed in awkward spots in Payloon. Also, you couldn't interact with Grimmick due to a cow being at the same spot. A character could not climb up on top of a gate, door or a gate. Or a character could climb to the top of on top of the Saute of Bond, and they fixed an issue where animals would die because of the abyss grass in certain areas, and finally fixed various other in-game issues. With that, we have the Crimson Desert done. Let's continue to explore Pywell and have fun.